Hello and welcome to a very special VO'd edition of Scout Report. Today we are looking at why José Mourinho and Tottenham Hotspur simply do not mix. Let's go. When Pochettino joined Tottenham from Southampton in May 2014, he joined a club struggling to take that step to the next level, with just one Champions League qualifying campaign to their name. Fast forward 5 years though, and Spurs managed 4 successive top 4 finishes, mounting 2 title challenges and reaching a UCL final for the first time in their history. But in November last year, the Argentine was sacked following a steady decline in form that left the North London outfit down in 14th. Three-time Premier League winner José Mourinho was brought in as his replacement, with many labelling his appointment as a quick fix, rather than part of any long-term plan Poch had implemented. With 20 trophies to his name, it was hoped that Mourinho would at least bring silverware to Spurs, who have been without since 2008. But that certainly won't be happening this season after being knocked out in the FA Cup and Champions League. As for the Premier League, a strong start under his reign with 4 wins out of 6 saw them back in the mix for UCL spots. But that new manager spike is well and truly over, with Spurs now winless in 6 games, having conceded 11 goals in that period. And it's the defence that has been Mourinho's biggest problem. Dire defending. The former Chelsea boss is renowned for building his sides around a sturdy back line. In his debut campaign at Stamford Bridge, his side conceded just 15, the fewest goals conceded in a Premier League season. In his first 25 games managing the Blues, they kept a staggering 17 clean sheets. That number has dropped to just 3 at Spurs, the lowest of his career. In fact, between his spells at Man United and Spurs, Mourinho has seen his team manage just 1 clean sheet in their last 21 away games across all competitions, a scoreless draw against Watford in January. While only Aston Villa have conceded more goals among Premier League teams than the Lilywhites since the Portuguese's first game in charge. Mourinho has desperately tried to tighten up the defence, playing a lopsided 4-3-2-1 formation, pushing forward the error-prone Serge Aurier and using the left-sided defender as an inverted fullback. He's also experimented with numerous centre-back partnerships, but is yet to find the right combination. He's certainly not been helped by the deterioration of the once so formidable Belgian duo Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen. The latter has especially struggled this term, but though his tackle and interception numbers remain healthy at 3.7 per game, the 32-year-old now gets dribbled past 0.6 times per match, his second worst season and 3 times higher than when Spurs came third in 2015-16. In that same season, Tottenham boasted the best defence, conceding just 35 goals, and they followed that up in 2016-17 with another league high of 26 goals against. However, with 9 games to go this campaign, Spurs have already shipped 40, with XG suggesting they've even been lucky and should have conceded a further 4, which would rank them the 7th worst defence in the division. It's unusual for a Mourinho back line to be so fragile. Even at Manchester United, arguably his most unsuccessful spell prior to Spurs, his side conceded just 57 goals in 76 games from 2016 to 18, the best defensive record in the league during that time. So why has this not translated to Spurs? Well, most crucially, he hasn't got the tools at his disposal. Tottenham's defence have been showing serious signs of decline already under Pochettino, conceding 12.1 shots per game last term, their lowest since 2014-15, which is alarmingly now 14.4 a game, with only 5 teams in the league conceding more. A defensive rebuild in the summer seems necessary, but surely a manager of his calibre should be getting more out of his current players. Or are his tactics now simply out of touch with the modern style of play? A changing game. In February, Frank Lampard's Chelsea completed the double over Spurs, becoming the first team to beat a side managed by Mourinho both home and away in a single league season. From the get-go, the Chelsea legend has put his faith in the youth system, immediately bringing the likes of Abraham and Mount into the first team, who have repaid his faith with 21 goals between them this term. Their impressive displays have encouraged Lampard to hand more first-team opportunities to the academy products, with Tomori, James, Lamptey and Gilmour injecting more energy and innovation to the club. Entertainment has been ever-present at Stamford Bridge this season, but the same can't be said at Tottenham. While Pochettino looked to be building a side for the future, Mourinho has historically favoured experience over youth, and is already thought to be keen on poaching veterans such as Willian and Matic from his former clubs. Having said that, Mourinho has utilised 20-year-old Japhet Tanganga, who made his debut against Liverpool in January and has since made 10 appearances, impressing with 4.6 tackles and interceptions per match, the highest in the squad. However, with injuries to Spurs' strongest attackers, Son, Kane and Bergwijn, Mourinho has handed just 25 minutes to Tottenham's only fit striker, 18-year-old Troy Parrott. For 3 successive seasons under Pochettino, between 2014 and 2017, Spurs had the youngest average starting 11 in the league at 24.8 years old. They now pay the price for a lack of transfers over recent years though, with that number increasing to 26.4 this term, the 7th oldest in the league. Mourinho can't be blamed for this, but based on his past, it's not something he'll look to rectify. With chairman Daniel Levy strongly favouring youth and having the final say on any incomings, it seems the special one will have to settle for signing players with less experience. The January transfers of 21-year-old Jedson Fernandez and 22-year-old Steven Bergwijn are evidence of this. Levy is also not one to dip into his pocket, with Spurs managing the 4th lowest net spend in the league over the last 5 years with just £95 million, £284 million less than Mourinho's previous club. With stadium debt to add into the mix, the 57-year-old will be frustrated with a lack of transfer funds this summer, something he's far from used to. The outspoken one. One of Mourinho's biggest flaws is laying the blame on others when things don't go his way. It's a side to him that has become ever more apparent over time, as towards the back end of his second spell at Chelsea, he openly criticised Juan Mata, branding him a luxury player, and even lost his temper at the club's doctor and physio during a game. And when results started going badly at Old Trafford, he publicly called out Luke Shaw and his weight, and who can forget his ongoing feud with Paul Pogba. Now just 4 months into life at Tottenham, Mourinho is at it again. With the numerous injuries to his side, the Spurs boss has done nothing to instill confidence into the fringe players that have had to step up. After their 3-0 defeat to RB Leipzig in the Champions League, he stated that his injury-stricken squad was not even a team anymore, and the whole Leipzig bench would get into his starting 11 right now. But most damningly, Mourinho has publicly belittled Tottenham's record signing, Tanguy Ndombele. The Frenchman joined in the summer for €60 million from Lyon and had a solid start under Pochettino, with 5 goal involvements in his first 8 starts, and offered the defence and protection with 4.1 tackles and interceptions per game. However, under Mourinho, he has just 1 goal involvement and his defensive actions have dropped drastically to 2.2 a game. And the 23-year-old looks far from fit, failing to complete a single sprint in their 1-1 draw against Burnley earlier this month. Mourinho benched him at half-time and publicly criticised him after the game, stating he's not currently up to the level of the Premier League. Similar remarks aimed at Pogba and Shaw only seem to worsen the situation and their performances, and yet Mourinho does not learn from his mistakes. Even through tough times at Spurs, Pochettino never once publicly shamed one of his players, maintaining a togetherness amongst the squad. The last manager to take such an approach at Tottenham was Tim Sherwood, and his spell in the White Hart Lane dugout did not last long. He does, however, have a higher win percentage than Mourinho at Spurs, taking 32 points from his first 17 games, 5 more than the former Porto man has managed. With the Premier League currently suspended, Tottenham should have the likes of Sissoko, Kane and Son back for when or if it resumes, reigniting some hope of a Champions League finish. But ultimately, there is a feeling that this group of players went as far as they could under Pochettino. A younger, more innovative manager such as Julian Nagelsmann or Marco Rose could have kept his ethos alive, but Spurs opted for Mourinho, who looks far from home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's all we have time for today, but let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Mourinho can turn it around at Spurs, or will things just get worse? And if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more great content. See you soon.